Da bin ich jetzt mal
Dr.
gespannt.
Swansea, thank goodness. I was beginning to be concerned.
Worry no more, Nurse Crane, for I bring good news.
Oh,
die doch
Doctor,
eben
what a
auf
night.
Englisch
We
anders
lost two
genannt.
more patients. Nurse Scow said she couldn't take it
Crane.
anymore and resigned.
Yes, well, I'll make a new rota in the morning. In the meantime, find a good bed for Mr. Hampton. Be sure to pay attention to his needs.
Of course, Doctor.
Oh, and Dorothy,
Yes, Doctor?
Dr. Reid here has just returned from the front. He served King and Country and will be joining us here at Pembroke. We're very lucky to have gained a surgeon of his talent, and one so experienced in blood transfusions.
That is good news indeed, Doctor.
Genau, die Fusionen, Transfusionen, die werden aber anderweitig stattfinden wahrscheinlich. Schauen wir mal.
Here at Pembroke, it's not what we have, but what we haven't. It's only thanks to Nurse Crane and the staff that our ship doesn't sink. If you have any questions, just ask her.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Your assistance is required, Dr. Swansea,
Welcome
immediately.
aboard, Jonathan. We'll catch up after my rounds. Coming, Nurse Crane. I'm coming.
Nurse Crane. Da ist die Dorothy. Auf zum Krankenhaus. Kapitel 1. Analysiere William Bishops Blut im Krankenhaus. Gut, werden wir tun. Pembroke Hospital. So, wir schauen uns aber hier erstmal um. Da kommen wir nicht raus. In den Kisten ist Niggese. Hier vorne noch irgendwas. Was ist hier los? Kämpft.
Rotten or crispy, each heart contains the seed of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
All right, sorry. I am in pain here. Me guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reid.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Qualität des Blutes. Die Blutqualität deutet an, wie viel EP du von einem bestimmten Bürger erhältst. Je höher die Blutqualität, desto mehr EP erhältst du. Was? Mesmerisieren. Um das Blut deiner Beute auszusaugen, musst du sie zunächst in den Bann ziehen, um sie so an eine Stelle zu führen, die andere Bürger nicht sehen können. Deine Bannstufe muss genauso hoch oder höher als der Widerstand der Bürger sein. Drücke LB, um Clay in deinen Bann zu ziehen.
Bring this fading light into the shadows.
Folge der
Dance
roten
with
Spur,
you
um
the
dein Opfer in den
dance
Schatten
of
zu
life
bringen.
and death.
Was für eine roten Spur? Ach, hier. So, und los geht's.
In the back, you bastard!
Bis zum bitteren Ende. Saugt Clay während des ersten Treffens aus.
I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
So, und schon haben wir volles Leben und alles voll und sowieso und überhaupt. Ja, das ist doch mal fein. Es war jetzt etwas blutleer. Lag da was? Ja, da ist eine Kiste. Keine Teile eines gewöhnlichen Griffs. Okay. Da ist auch noch was. 2-mal Feder.
To taste a life, to embrace its most intimate secrets. Such a burden, such a divine sin.
Jetzt von mir. So ein Kistchen. Aluminiumpulver. Da ist nichts mehr. Okay, und hier ist wohl das Krankenhaus. Glasviole. Sehr schön. Bevor wir ins Bevor wir ins Halt, da war auch noch was, oder? Oder war das nur die Spiegelung von der Matratze? Gucken wir uns erst noch hier ein bisschen um.
Good evening,
Lass mal hier mit der Schwester
I'm
quatschen.
Dr. Jonathan Reid, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth
Gwyneth.
Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really?
Dankeschön.
It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I
Wir haben
suppose
wohl
I'll just have
einen
to
Fan
deal
mit dem
with
Dr.
this
Swansea.
unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
Ja, die
An
spanische
invisible
Grippe meinst du
enemy.
wahrscheinlich.
Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Ja, es ist ihnen nicht zu verdenken, aber
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
okay, wissen wir ein bisschen was über den Dr. Tippett.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No, I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Gut, okay. Sehr loyal, die Gute. Achso, das war das. Hinweis benötigt, okay. Dann müssen wir dann erstmal
Goodbye, nurse.
Hinweise sammeln
Call
bei
me if
vielleicht
you need
anderen Leuten,
assistance.
die etwas mehr Klatsch und Tratsch vielleicht bevorzugen. Jetzt steht es mir als im Weg rum. Olle Zippe. Okay, hier gibt es jetzt wohl erstmal nichts. Das heißt, wir folgen der Schwester Dorothy ins Krankenhaus.
Doctor, where
Auf
have you
geht's.
been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I apologize, nurse. I needed some time to myself. This has been the longest and strangest night of my life.
You delivered poor Mr. Hampton from a terrible fate. The means to that end should be of little concern, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Mein...
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital,
Ah,
Dr.
okay.
Reid. Your office
Nurse
has been
Crane, die
prepared.
heißt mit Nachnamen Crane. Wieso haben wir schon... Alter Schwede, wir haben schon
I would
ein
like to ask a
Schild,
few
ein Namensschild an
questions
unserer Tür.
And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in. How does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
Hat sie gar nicht so unrecht.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
Das hört man gern.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Okay, jetzt wissen wir... Ja, das brauche ich nicht fragen, das wissen wir ja. Das ist nur zum Wiederholen.
Thank you, Nurse
Erster Stock, mein Name ist an der Tür. Gut, dann gehen wir doch mal gucken. Was haben wir denn hier so? Wer bist du denn? Hallo.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reid. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reid. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reid. And if you ever need a better gun,
Die hard?
remember, I may have something for you.
Yippie Schweinebacke oder was? So, mit dem kann man handeln. Oh, da gucken wir gleich mal. Wie ist die
How
Lage
is the
hier?
situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital. That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Okay, da haben wir doch direkt eine neue Quest bekommen.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
Ja, auch da hat er nicht so ganz unrecht. Können wir ihn was Persönliches fragen? Ne, ist auch noch nichts freigeschaltet.
I'd
Ja,
like to
gucken
see
wir doch mal,
your
was er
goods.
zu handeln hat.
Wise choice, Dr. Reid. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
So, wir können kaufen und verkaufen. Das ist schon mal gut. Was hat er denn so? Milton Schrotflinte. Kosten der Spaß 315. Na gut, so viel haben wir noch nicht. Patronen. Ah, okay, der verkauft auch Zubehör für die Waffen. Das ist schon mal gar nicht schlecht. Können wir auch dem Zubehör verkaufen? Ja, das ist gut. Das ist sehr gut. Falls wir mal bei irgendwas zu viel haben. Ehering. Den können wir verkaufen, oder? Eine Uhr. Kann zerlegt werden. Und behalten dann erstmal. Flasche mit Alkohol, durchschnittlicher Wiederverkaufswert. Der kann in wiederverwertbare Bestandteile zerlegt werden. Gut, dann behalten wir den auch mal. Findet ein Büro. Betritt den Garten im Hinterhof. Ich würde sagen, wir gehen aber erstmal ins Büro. Wir haben eine Menge EP und die würde ich vielleicht, bevor wir in den Garten gehen, erstmal ausgeben wollen. Gucken uns aber noch kurz hier um. Wen haben wir hier? Mal kurz gucken. Die ist mir noch völlig unbekannt. Ah, hier ist der Tippets. Mit dem sprechen wir noch mal kurz.
Good evening, sir.
Mich dann doch.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reid has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippets, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Ja, mal gucken, was er so sagt.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reid. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Auch ein sehr loyaler junger Mann. Naja, jung.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Ja, die Zeit, wo nur Männer Ärzte werden durften.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Hier fehlt uns noch ein Hinweis, um das anzusprechen. Dann machen wir.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Ja, solltest du auch. Gut. Leben in London.
Goodbye, Dr.
Dann
Tippett.
lassen wir das erstmal. So, Ist hier noch irgendwas? Toten beklauen oder so? Wir gehen jetzt erstmal in unseren Raum und gucken mal, was hängt denn da? Die Stadt braucht sie. Oh, ihre Stadt braucht sie. Stadt, sie. Leben, das durch effiziente medizinische Hilfe gerettet wird, ist ein Stich ins der Epidemie. Freiwillige machen den Unterschied. Okay, da fehlt wohl ein bisschen was. Aber das ist ja
Dr.
nicht
Swansea is
tragisch,
right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Das hört sich gut an. Da hinten blinkt was. Was haben wir denn hier? Husten Sie nicht in der Öffentlichkeit. Verhindern Sie Ansteckungen. Unbedachtes Spucken, Schneuzen und Husten verbreitet die Grippe. Sie verbreitet sich durch Tröpfchen aus Nase und Rachen. Husten Sie nicht in der Öffentlichkeit. Gerade wollte ich. Nein, ich mach's nicht. Wir sind ja hier in der Öffentlichkeit. In der Öffentlichkeit von YouTube. Krankenschwestern werden jetzt gebraucht. Im Namen der Barmherzigkeit. Sie verlassen sich auf sie. Krankenschwestern werden jetzt gebraucht. Melden Sie sich beim nächsten Registrierungsbüro des Ministeriums für Arbeit und Wehrdienst oder schreiben Sie an 15 Kingsway, London. Ja, gut. Schauen wir uns erstmal ein bisschen hier unten um.
They belong to you now.
The life running in your veins. This dead flesh needs it.
Oh, please spare me, Dark Queen. Spare your obedient slave.
Was ist mit euch los?
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reid, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reid, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Die ist ja geil.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Ja.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Bat?
Who are these
Als
enemies you
Fledermaus.
mentioned? Can
Das
you
würde ich
describe
gerne
them?
sehen.
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Die ist der Hammer.
I'll leave
Ja,
you,
tschö.
Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activity.
Mistress of the Dark. Jetzt will ich mal... Ja, ist klar. Gut. Also, jetzt haben wir auch die Herren der Dunkelheit kennengelernt. Die ist der absolute Burner.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reid, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
Genau.
You
Miss
dared
Hawcroft.
to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reid. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Searching for light, ist klar.
Do you
Tom
know
Watts,
Tom
was
Watts?
er?
The bartender from the Turtle. I met him
Genau.
before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I
ich finde
avoid
so
in this
schön,
part
wie-
of town, then?
Wie britisch
Any
Englisch die sprechen.
particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Na gut. So, was haben wir noch? Die
What is
Lage
the
am
general
Docks.
situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The wet boot boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Naja, wenigstens etwas.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks, and I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Oh je, schwerer Job.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Ja, es wird wahrscheinlich auch gesegnet sein müssen.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
So,
Goodbye, Mr.
gut.
Hampton. We'll talk again later.
Ja, das werden wir auf jeden Fall.
Routine.